a local man was sent ahead with a video camera to find a hidden kabum. It's accessible, but so sacred, only locals should enter the cave. Here to assess the art found in the caves is Italian art conservator Luigi Fieni.
It's incredible. Look at the details of the carvings.
They're looking at the first ever footage of one more kabum, lost in the cliffs of Mustang. It's proof that the legend of hidden cave shrines is true. The expedition has now uncovered 2. 5 remain.
This is really nice. Yes.
Nepal's former chief archaeologist, Sukrasagar Shrestha, has always believed the caves of Upper Mustang would be beyond his reach. Brott Coburn, an author and friend of ours, knows Upper Mustang perhaps more than any other Westerner. He's pioneered the conservation of Mustang's most important antiquities.
This is not an easy place to work, I can tell you. The dust is just incessant, and the wind is constant. For the people who lived here, it was harsh, but it's also harsh for the Nepalese scholars who have averred opportunities until now to come up and study these cave cultures. The Department of Archaeology only has 2 qualified high mountain archaeologists, and we've recruited them for this expedition.
Locals believe their ancestors carved out the caves. The only dates we have are from an archaeological dig in Lower Mustang in the 1990s that found human remains in a cave that are nearly 2,500 years old. Since then, no one has been allowed to do further research. Sukrasagar was on that dig, in a region much more accessible and not at the high altitudes of Upper Mustang. This is the first time archaeologists have entered the caves of Mustang's forbidden zone. Yet another cave temple is found. For 10 years, Luigi Fieni has restored Mustang's oldest art inside 15th century monasteries. He believes the paintings on this cave wall are even older and in a style unlike any he's seen in the region.
This really look like Indian.
Mm-hmm. They're very fluid. They're very, you know, very moving. They're not rigid like a lot of the paintings that we've seen.
Nagarjuna, a saint from the 2nd century, passing on the word of the Buddha to his disciples.
Here you have a 3-dimensional rendering. You have the white for the highlights, and you have darker line for the shade. Yeah, so they really wanted to give a 3-dimensional impact.
The word kabum hints at the significance of these sacred cave temples. Bum means receptacle, and ka means the teaching of the Buddha.
The local people feel that these kabum, although they were created millennia ago, still have ritual significance for them. Worshipping them, making offerings to them, pilgrimage to them in some cases, can affect the productivity of their crops or the fertility of their families and the richness and the productivity of their land and their local wealth.
Uncovering yet another kabum may be a blessing on the culture, but it means the work has only just begun. Inventorying the cave involves recording the Tibetan icons depicted in the art, so scholars can decipher the underlying message for the pilgrims who once came here. Sukrasagar will measure and draw the layout, so preservation and protection of the site can begin. It's possible 4 more kabums could be out there somewhere, waiting to be discovered. Unless they've collapsed beyond recognition into the cliffs that once held their sacred teachings.
Mama, I found my harness.
Hey, Pete. She's talking to you.
What, sweetie?
No, I love you.
You want to go?
Yeah.
You can come over with us, I think.
Okay. Clay doesn't have a harness. I do. I do have a harness.
There's only 1 week of exploring left on the permit, and a local tip about a kabum leads the climbers here.
We have been told that there might be a cave chorten, there might be scripture, there might be artwork. He's saying that people say that the kaboom is inside this wall here. Well, how many of these do you think we need? 3, 4 more?
Yeah, 2 or 3 more of these and 2 of the big ones.
A village headman gave them permission to tackle a collapsing cliff where the locals believe a cave chorten is tucked away. But it's the worst terrain Pete and Renan have encountered so far. Although no one's been inside the cave in modern times, the oral history is alive.
One young Tibetan boy came down to us and he opened up his book and he said, all of our gods live inside this cave. And he was pointing to Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava, who discovered a lot of the caves in this area, established one of the early monasteries here. That led us to realize that this was a sacred place for them.
Curiosity is what drives all exploration, but it comes with risks.
The type of climbing that we're doing in Mustang is something that no sane climber would want to do. Generally, the rock quality is really quite poor. It's dangerous. These rebar pitons that we've fabricated in Kathmandu are almost a throwback to the Iron Age itself, which makes them appropriate for the caves that we're exploring.
This is getting really Genghis.
Yeah. Most climbers really enjoy good rock quality, not the showering of dust, dirt, bat, guano, bird poop. This is kind of industrial, gritty, difficult, scary experience.
I pushed it pretty much right to the limit. I stood up on one of those pins in the soft layer and it shifted on me and I almost took the whipper. Also made the mistake of trying to breathe, taking some dust into my lungs. And that was a horrible feeling. To cramp on or not to cramp on? This is the question. Ice tools for sure. This guy in particular. It's gonna make my life a lot easier. I think I'm gonna leave the crampons.
It's always a
Take the crampons, take the crampons.
Crampons are normally used on ice, but little about this climb is normal.
I arrived on the scene into the 3rd day of Renan and Pete bolting their way up this cliffside. And I was automatically curious as to how much attention the power drill and all the people gathered at the base might bring. And sure enough, some villagers arrived from the hamlet of Dri, about an hour's pony ride upstream. And they confronted us saying that we didn't have permission to access their cliff sides and a sacred site.
Their impression was that we were coming to steal something that was inside the cave, or we were there to deface or somehow defile their own landscape. Renan was literally 5 feet from getting into the cave. We had had the actual permission from the headman of the village several weeks before in Kathmandu. He said that we'd have no problem with the people from his valley respective to going into these caves.
Please come down, okay? All these pins are just like wiggled in there.
The locals won't let Renan go up any further. His anchors are now unsafe, and they won't let him drill a new one.
Hey, Brock, can you try to explain to these guys that his anchors are not good? He's trying to come down as best he can. It's just very dangerous.
Getting Renan safely down is the first priority, just so they can negotiate permission for him to climb back up and safely remove the ropes.
His life was at stake in this process. He had to go up in order to secure an anchor in order to safely descend and clean the route.
As Brock tries to negotiate, it's clear the villagers have another agenda. Just to remove their gear from the route, the team will have to pay.
They want money, basically, and that's it.
Oh, I think close to $1,000 was the first asking price. We were very upset with them because we felt like it was extortion.
Since the team won't agree to pay, the villagers take matters into their own hands. By pulling on the ropes, they're compromising Renan's fragile anchors. And then the men pile up kindling to burn the climbers' ropes. Renan is forced to bring the ropes down without placing a safe anchor.